The heavy pulse of the city hummed against the glass, but the woman kept tracing the rim of her T. Slow circles. 3, 4. Like she had all the time in the world. "Son," she whispered, "you picked the wrong floor." The penthouse in Silver Heights went dead silent that October evening in 2024. Every man there knew Leo Vance, the coldest fixer north of the Hudson. 9 confirmed hits, maybe double that without files. But nobody knew the silver-haired woman sitting at the corner desk, calmly sipping her tea like it was just another sunset. Leo had driven into the city at dusk, his charcoal suit sharp despite 10 hours of hard tracking. He was hunting someone. Word in the underworld said that person might be hiding in Silver Heights. When Leo pushed through those glass doors, his hand already resting on his holster, he scanned every face in the room. Then he saw her. The woman. Something about those eyes, those steady hands wrapped around that porcelain cup made Leo's blood run cold. "You're her," Leo said, his voice sharp as broken glass. "You're Elena Thorne." The woman took another slow sip of tea. "That name doesn't mean much these days, son." "Means plenty to me," Leo replied, drawing his pistol in one fluid motion. He pressed the barrel hard against the woman's forehead, expecting fear, expecting begging. Instead, Elena Thorne looked up at him with tired gray eyes that had seen too much death to be afraid of one more. "Will it take long?" the woman asked quietly. "My tea is getting cold." Leo's finger trembled on the trigger. Something was wrong. No one faces death this calmly unless they've already made peace with it, or unless they know something you don't. Before we go any further, if you're enjoying this tale, hit that like button, and if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. Tell me what country you're listening from. I love seeing how far these stories travel across the digital frontier. Now, stay sharp. What's coming next will catch you off guard. The other guards in the penthouse pressed themselves against the walls. The assistant, a nervous man named Marcus, slowly reached under the desk where he kept a panic button, but thought better of it. This was between Leo Vance and whoever this woman really was. "You killed my brother," Leo said, his voice barely above a whisper. 4 years ago in Ironwood. Shot him down in the lobby like a dog. Elena Thorne set her teacup down gently. "I've killed many men, son. You'll need to be more specific." The answer infuriated Leo. His jaw clenched, and he pressed the gun harder against the woman's skull. "Julian Vance. He was 21 years old. You shot him 3 times. Left him bleeding on the marble outside Sterling's bank." "Julian Vance," Elena repeated, searching her memory. Her eyes showed recognition, then something that might have been regret. "The boy who tried to breach the vault. The one who shot Arthur Sterling first." "He was defending himself," Leo snarled, "from an unarmed clerk counting cash." Elena's voice carried no mockery. "Just plain fact. Your brother fired first. Killed a man with a wife and 2 daughters under 5. I was the chief of security. I did my duty." Leo's hand shook now, rage and grief mixing into something dangerous. "You didn't have to kill him. You could have wounded him. Detained him." "He fired twice," Elena said. "Missed both times because his hand was shaking. But he wasn't going to stop. I've been doing this work for 30 years, boy. I know when a man means to die rather than surrender." The tension stretched like wire pulled taut. Outside, a siren wailed. Someone's shoes scraped against the polished floor. Leo's finger remained on the trigger, but something in the woman's words had planted a seed of doubt. His brother Julian had always been reckless, always chasing easy money and big dreams. "You're lying," Leo finally said, but his voice lacked conviction. Elena Thorne picked up her teacup again, taking another slow sip despite the gun still pressed against her forehead. The gesture was so casual, so utterly fearless that several men in the room exchanged nervous glances. "I don't lie about the men I've killed," Elena said. "Can't afford to. Each one stays with me, follows me like shadows. Your brother's face is one of 47 I see when I close my eyes at night." 47, Leo repeated, his voice hollow. 47 men, Elena confirmed. "Some deserved it. Some probably didn't. Most fell somewhere in between, like your brother. But every single one of them drew on me first, or was shooting at someone else. I never murdered a man in my life, though I've killed plenty in the name of the law." Leo's gun hand wavered. He'd spent 4 years tracking this woman, for years living with rage and the need for revenge. He'd imagined this moment 1,000 times, always seeing himself pull the trigger without hesitation. But the woman's calm was unsettling. Her honesty even more so. "You're just gonna sit there?" Leo asked. "You're not even going to fight back?" Elena set her cup down again. "What would be the point? You've already decided I deserve to die. Maybe you're right. Maybe after 47 men the debt has come due. She gestured at the tea. "But I prefer to finish this first. It's good tea. Marcus here makes it strong, the way it should be." The assistant nodded nervously, saying nothing. Leo looked around the penthouse. Every eye was on him. Some faces showed fear, others curiosity. A few showed something like pity. But pity for whom? For the woman about to die? Or for the young gun who was about to become what he hated most? "Tell me about Julian," Leo said suddenly. "Tell me exactly what happened that day. No department report. The truth." Elena Thorne studied the young man's face for a long moment. Then she leaned back in her chair, and Leo's gun followed the movement, still aimed but with less pressure now. The woman's eyes went distant, traveling back through years. "It was July," Elena began. "Hot morning, the kind where the sun comes up angry. I was making my rounds when I heard the shot from Sterling's. By the time I got there, your brother was backing out the door with a bag full of cash and bonds." Leo's jaw tightened, but he didn't interrupt. "The clerk was on the floor," Elena continued. "Man named Arthur Sterling shot through the chest. His blood was spreading across those white floors. Julian saw me and raised his pistol. Didn't say a word, just fired." Elena reached up and touched her temple as if feeling for a mark that was no longer there. "The first shot went past my ear. The second one caught my partner, Ray Miller, in the shoulder. Ray was 20 paces behind me." "You're saying Julian shot a partner?" Leo's voice cracked slightly. "He did. Ray survived, but his arm never worked right again. Had to give up being a field agent. Took up work at the dispatch desk." Elena's eyes refocused on Leo. "Your brother was scared, boy. I could see it in his eyes. But scared doesn't make you innocent, and it doesn't make Arthur Sterling any less dead." The penthouse remained perfectly still. A fly buzzed against the window, the only sound besides breathing, and a creak of expensive leather as men shifted their weight. "After Ray went down," Elena said, "Julian fired at me again. The hammer fell on an empty chamber. He miscounted his rounds. Then he tried to run. I called out for him to stop, to surrender. He turned and tried to draw a second pistol from his jacket." Elena's voice dropped lower. "I didn't have a choice. I shot him 3 times because I couldn't risk him getting that second gun into play." Leo's face had gone pale. "That's not how they told it," Leo said, his voice barely audible. "The men who worked with Julian said you murdered him in cold blood. Said he was surrendering." Elena's expression hardened slightly. "The men who worked with him weren't there. They'd scattered the moment they heard the gunfire. They left your brother to face the consequences alone, then fed you lies to ease their own guilt." "Caleb Ross saw it," Leo insisted. "He told me everything." "Caleb Ross was 3 blocks away holding the car," Elena replied. "I arrested him 2 days later. He testified against the others in exchange for a lighter sentence. He told the court exactly what I just told you. The digital transcript is public record in Ironwood. You can read it yourself if you don't believe me." The gun in Leo's hand lowered slightly, no longer pressed against Elena's forehead, but still aimed at her face. Leo's whole world was shifting, years of certainty crumbling like dry clay. "Why didn't you come after me?" Leo asked. "You must have known I was hunting you." "I knew," Elena said. "Heard about a year ago. A contact of mine up in Chicago sent word. Said Julian Vance's younger brother was asking questions, practicing his draw, making threats." The woman reached for her tea again, and this time Leo didn't stop her. "But you're not a murderer, boy. You're angry and hurt, but you're not the kind to shoot someone in the back or ambush them at night. I figured you'd either find the truth eventually, or you'd face me straight on like you're doing now." "You gambled your life on that?" Leo asked, incredulous. Elena smiled slightly, the first change in her weathered expression. "Son, when you've lived as long as I have, done the things I've done, you learn to read people. I saw you the moment you walked through that door. I knew who you were and why you came." Leo slowly lowered his gun completely, letting it hang at his side. His hand still gripped the weapon, but the killing tension had drained from his shoulders. He pulled out the chair opposite Elena and sat down heavily, like a man who'd been walking for days. "I don't know what to believe anymore," Leo said. Elena gestured to Marcus. "Bring another cup and a fresh pot." The assistant hurried to comply, grateful for something to do besides watch 2 people decide who would live and who would die. When the tea arrived, Elena poured for both of them. The simple domestic gesture seemed absurd after what had just transpired, but Leo accepted the cup anyway. The tea was indeed strong, bitter, and hot. "Your brother wasn't a bad man," Elena said after a moment. "He was young and foolish, riding with the wrong crowd. Caleb Ross and his crew, they prey on boys like Julian. Fill their heads with easy money and adventure. But robbery is robbery, and murder is murder. Julian had dreams, Leo said softly. He wanted to buy land, start a business. Said one big score would set him up. They all say that, Elena replied without malice. One score, one job, one last ride. But easy money corrupts. It changes how a man thinks. Soon, one score isn't enough, and the next job is easier than getting honest work. Your brother might have been a good man if he'd never met Caleb Ross. Leo stared into his tea. I've wasted 4 years. Not wasted, Elena corrected. You learned to track, learned patience. Those are valuable skills. The question now is what you do with them. Outside, the city lights had climbed higher. The penthouse shadows shortened, and dust motes danced in the light streaming through the floor-to-ceiling windows. Life was continuing, despite the drama at the corner desk, the way it always does in big cities. I could still kill you, Leo said. But there was no heat in it. Elena nodded slowly. You could. I wouldn't stop you. Maybe I've got it coming. 47 men is a heavy load, even if each one was justified. There's a difference between legal killing and righteous killing. And I've long since stopped being sure which side of that line I'm on. The admission surprised Leo. He'd expected many things from the woman who killed his brother, but not this kind of weary honesty. Why do you keep doing it? Leo asked. Being a security chief, I mean, if it weighs on you so heavy. Elena was thoughtful for a long moment, her fingers tracing the rim of her teacup. Because someone has to. These places, they need order. Without it, men like Caleb Ross and his crew would run wild. Women wouldn't be safe walking to work. Children couldn't play in the parks. Every store would get robbed. Every disagreement would end in gunfire. There are other chiefs, Leo countered. Not enough of them. Not at once. Anyway, Elena looked up, meeting Leo's eyes. I'm good at this work. Don't say that with pride. Just stating fact. I'm fast. I'm fair. And I don't scare easy. Firms hire me when they've got trouble they can't handle. I clean it up and move on. Sounds lonely, Leo observed. It is. Elena's voice carried decades of solitude. I had a husband once, a son too. Lost them both to an accident back in '98. After that, there didn't seem much point in settling down. The work became everything. Marcus brought over a bottle of scotch without being asked. Set it on the table and retreated. Elena looked at it but didn't pour. Too early for that, she muttered. Leo found himself feeling something unexpected. Not forgiveness exactly, but understanding. The woman across from him wasn't a monster. She was just a person who'd made choices and lived with the consequences, same as everyone else trying to survive in this hard world. What was his name? Leo asked suddenly. The clerk Julian killed. You said Arthur Sterling. Tell me about him. Elena seemed surprised by the question, but she answered. Arthur was 34 years old. Came to the city from Ohio. After the recession. He'd been a shopkeeper there too. Wanted a fresh start. His wife Sarah took in sewing to help make ends meet. Their 2 daughters, Emily and Rose. They'd be grown now. The youngest was only 4 when Arthur died. The words hit Leo like physical blows. He'd spent 4 years thinking only of his own loss, his own pain. But Julian's bullet had created other orphans. Other grief. I never thought about them, Leo admitted. The people Julian hurt. I only thought about losing my brother. That's natural, Elena said. We all think our pain is the center of the world. Takes time and wisdom to see the bigger picture. She paused. Sarah Sterling still lives in Ironwood. She runs the branch now. Actually, first woman manager in the district, as far as I know. Strong woman. She didn't let tragedy destroy her. Leo felt shame burning in his chest. Does she know about me? That I was hunting you? I doubt it. I never told her. What would be the point? She's built a new life. No need to remind her of old sorrows. The two sat together drinking their tea. Around them, the office had begun to resume normal business. Men whispered to each other, casting glances at the corner desk, but no longer frozen in anticipation of violence. I was ready to die here today, Elena said. When I saw you walk in, I knew this might be the day. 4 years is long enough to run, even if I was just walking and you were doing the chasing. You weren't running, Leo said quietly. You're just living. Same thing sometimes in this life. Elena refilled both their cups. A young woman entered the penthouse, which was unusual enough that several heads turned. She wore a simple dress and carried a bag. She walked directly to Elena's desk, ignoring the stares. Ms. Thorne, she said. I brought those files I promised, fresh from the archive this morning. Elena's weathered face softened into something approaching genuine warmth. Thank you, Clara. You didn't have to go to the trouble. No trouble at all. She set the bag on the desk, then noticed Leo and the tension still lingering in the air. Am I interrupting? No, miss, Leo said quickly. We were just talking. Clara looked between the two, noting the gun still in Leo's hand, the drawn faces, the barely touched tea. She was young, maybe 20, but her eyes showed the kind of knowing that comes from living in hard places. I'll leave you both to your conversation, she said carefully. Then to Elena. Will you be staying for dinner? Mrs. Henderson is making roast. We'll see, Elena replied. Thank you, Clara. After she left, Leo asked, Who's that? The janitor's daughter. I'm helping them out while I'm in the building. Been here 3 weeks helping the local precinct with some trouble they've been having. A gang of hackers working the firms north of here. You're still working, Leo said. It wasn't a question. Until I can't anymore, Elena confirmed. Though days like today make me wonder how much longer that'll be. The young guns keep getting faster. And I keep getting slower. Leo looked down at his own gun, then back at Elena. I'm fast. Practiced every day for 4 years. I'm probably faster than you now. Probably, Elena agreed without ego. Speed isn't everything, though. Being fast just means you die quick if you're wrong. Being smart means you don't have to draw at all. Is that why you didn't fight back today? Leo asked. Elena shook her head slowly. I didn't fight back because I've killed enough men. If today was my day to answer for that, so be it. Besides, she looked directly at Leo. You're not a killer. Not yet. And I wasn't going to be the person who made you into one. Those words settled over Leo like a heavy coat. He finally holstered his pistol, the first time it had been put away since he had drawn it 20 minutes ago. The gesture felt final, like closing a door on something. What happens now? Leo asked. Elena pulled a file from Clara's bag, revealing a set of documents. She offered one to Leo. He took it. Now you decide what kind of man you want to be. You've got skills, you're young, and you're smart enough to listen before shooting. That's rare out here. I'm not a lawman, Leo said. Don't have to be. Could be a consultant, a scout, a private guard. Could even go back home. Use what you've learned to protect businesses. There's always work for a man who can handle himself. Elena tapped a document, looking thoughtful. Or you could work with me for a while. I could use someone watching my back, and you could learn the difference between revenge and justice. Leo stared at her. You're offering me a job after I nearly killed you? Nearly doesn't count, Elena said with a slight smile. You had every reason to hate me, but you listened to the truth when you heard it. That shows character, and character is harder to find than fast hands. Outside, the city was waking up fully now. Taxis honked past. Someone was working at a construction site. Voices carried on the evening air. Normal life in a metropolis continuing regardless of personal dramas. I need to think, Leo said finally. Take your time. I'll be here till the hacker problem is solved. At least another week. Leo stood up, his legs unsteady. The adrenaline that had carried him through the confrontation was draining away, leaving him exhausted. I'm staying at the hotel on Oak Street. The one with the blue awnings, Elena confirmed. Good people run that place. Tell Mrs. Morrison I sent you. She'll give you a fair rate. Leo nodded and turned to leave, then stopped. Miss Thorne, thank you for not making me into a murderer today. Thank you for not making me kill another young man who reminds me too much of my own son. After Leo left, the penthouse slowly returned to normal. Men resumed their conversations. Work restarted, and Marcus began wiping down the desk with renewed vigor. Elena sat alone, reading Clara's files and drinking tea that had long since gone cold. An older man approached the desk, his badge identifying him as Commissioner Morton. He'd been sitting in the back corner during the entire confrontation, ready to intervene, but wise enough to let it play out. That was well handled, Morton said, pulling out the chair Leo had vacated. I thought for sure we'd be filling out a report or two this morning. So did I, Elena admitted. The boy surprised me. Most people that angry don't want to hear the truth. What do you do if he takes you up on the offer? Elena considered the question. Teach him, I suppose. Train him proper. Make sure he uses those skills for something better than revenge. You getting soft in your old age, Al? Getting tired? Maybe tired of seeing young men in the morgue. Tired of the killing. Elena looked out the window at the city. Maybe it's time to build something, instead of just tearing things down. Morton nodded slowly. The hacker crew has been hitting the Thompson Corp. They'll probably strike again tonight. The system maintenance makes it easier for them. How many? Elena asked, her mind already shifting to the tactical problem. Best guess is 5 people. They hit fast. Route the data through the server farm to a ghost account where they can wash it. Thompson has lost over $1 million in the past month. That's a substantial professional operation. Elena finished her tea. They have a mole watching the office. Likely. They seem to know when Thompson's security is spread thin. Morton leaned forward. I could deputize you officially. Would give you legal standing if it comes to an arrest. Do it. And Morton, if that Vance boy is still in town tonight and wants to join us, I could use him. The commissioner raised an eyebrow. You trust him? I trust that he's learned something today. Besides, 5 against 1 is bad odds, even for me. 5 against 2 is better. The afternoon passed slowly. Leo spent the hours walking the streets of Silver Heights thinking about his brother, about Elena Thorne, about the 4 years he'd spent consumed by hatred. By the time the sun began its descent toward the western horizon, he'd made his decision. As evening shadows lengthened across Silver Heights, Leo stood in his hotel room, staring at his reflection in the small mirror. The face looking back seemed different somehow. Older maybe, or just more aware. He'd come to Silver Heights expecting to become a killer, expecting to find closure in murder. Instead, he found something more complicated. Truth. A knock at his door interrupted his thoughts. Mr. Vance, someone to see you. Leo opened the door to find Clara Henderson standing in the hallway holding a folded piece of paper. Ms. Thorne asked me to deliver this to you. Leo unfolded the paper. Elena's handwriting was neat and precise. The hackers hit tonight. Maintenance window. If you want to learn the difference between revenge and justice, meet me at the precinct at sundown. Bring your gear. Clara waited, clearly curious, but too polite to ask. Leo looked at her kind face and thought about the different paths available to him. He could leave the city tonight, return to the empty vengeance that had consumed 4 years of his life. Or he could stay, learn something, maybe become something more than his anger. Tell Miss Thorne I'll be there, Leo said finally. Clara smiled. She'll be glad to hear it. She's a good person, you know. My father says Miss Thorne has saved more lives than she's taken. Though most people only remember the taking. After she left, Leo checked his equipment. His sidearm was clean and loaded, his tactical gear likewise. He'd maintained them religiously during his 4-year hunt, and the habit had become meditation. Now he wondered if those same tools might serve a different purpose. At sundown, Leo found Elena and Commissioner Morton in the office, studying a digital map of the Thompson building and surrounding network. Elena looked up as Leo entered, nodded once, and returned to the map. The server room is here, Elena explained, pointing. Only way to move that much data quickly. They'll come in from the service entrance where there's cover from the parking garage. Thompson's security will be watching the main lobby, so the hackers will hit from the blind side. How do you know their pattern? Leo asked. Because it's what I do, Elena replied. Professional thieves follow the layout. They don't get caught by being unpredictable. They get caught by being seen, Morton added. We'll position ourselves in the observation deck overlooking the hall. Let them access the terminal. Then cut off their exit. With luck, they'll surrender when they see they're trapped. And without luck? Leo asked. Elena's expression hardened. Without luck, you'll learn why being fast matters. But remember, we're not here to kill them. We're here to stop them. Big difference. They moved out an hour later. 3 people in a quiet vehicle, moving through the gathering darkness. The moon was rising full and bright, turning the cityscape into something from a dream. Leo sat beside Elena, and for the first time in 4 years, he felt like he was moving towards something instead of away from it. The Thompson building appeared ahead, lights burning in the upper floors. They entered through a side door a half-mile from the server hub and proceeded on foot, moving carefully through the corridors and shadows. Elena moved with surprising grace for her age, each step deliberate and soundless. Leo tried to match her movements, learning from the older woman's example. They reached their position in the observation deck just after full dark. Below them, the server corridor stretched like a throat between 2 glass walls. Anyone entering would have to come single file through the narrowest section, making them easy to control, but also creating a natural bottleneck. Now we wait, Elena whispered. Patience is most of this work. The exciting parts are short and ugly, but the waiting is what makes you or breaks you. They didn't have to wait long. Around midnight, Leo heard the soft click of a door, then saw movement in the darkness. 5 figures emerged from the stairwell, expertly moving toward the terminal. The operation was smooth and professional, confirming Elena's assessment. Elena touched Leo's shoulder and pointed. One person was hanging back, watching their back trail. The leader and another person pushed toward the console while 2 more flanked the sides. Standard formation, hard to break. Morton signaled from his position across the hall. Everything was ready. Elena stepped forward and her voice rang out across the corridor. "This is Chief Elena Thorne. You're surrounded. Leave the hardware and surrender." The reaction was instantaneous. The rear guard spun and fired blindly towards Elena's voice. The muzzle flash illuminated his face for a brief second, and Leo saw fear there and desperation. The alarms tripped, beginning to wail. Elena didn't return fire. Instead, she called out again. "Don't make this worse. You can't escape. Drop the weapons." But the hackers weren't listening. The leader shouted orders, and the 5 people scrambled, trying to burst through the hall before they could be cut off. Everything happened fast then, just like Elena had warned. The crew ran hard for the exit, firing wildly at the deck. Morton fired a warning shot that ricocheted off a metal frame with a sharp whine. One of the hackers wheeled around and raised their weapon, aiming directly at Morton's position. Leo didn't think. He raised his rifle and fired. Just a hand's breadth to the left of the hacker, close enough that the man felt the bullet pass. The hacker stumbled, throwing off his aim, and his shot went high. Elena was moving now, emerging from cover with her hand steady on her pistol. "Last chance," she roared. "Next shot won't be a warning." Maybe it was the absolute certainty in her voice. Or maybe the crew realized they were truly trapped. The leader raised his hands slowly, and one by one, the others followed suit. The alarms continued wailing in confusion, but the shooting was over. No one was dead. No one was even wounded. Commissioner Morton and his team emerged to secure the prisoners. Elena approached the leader, an older man with a tired face and defeated eyes. "Smart choice," Elena said. "A trial in court is better than bleeding out in a hallway." Later, as they walked back toward the street, Elena turned to Leo. "You had a clean shot at that man. Could have killed him easy. Why didn't you?" "Because you were right," Leo said. "We were here to stop them, not kill them. There's a difference." Elena smiled. The first real smile Leo had seen on the woman's face. That's the lesson most people never learn. You learned it in one day. That's something. The moon was setting as they reached the car, painting everything in silver and shadow. Leo thought about his brother Julian, about the choices that led him to die on the floor of a bank in Ironwood. Then he thought about the choice he'd made today. And all the choices still ahead. Maybe 4 years wasn't wasted after all. Maybe it just took that long to find the right path. If you enjoyed this story of redemption and justice in the modern world, don't let it end here. Subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss another tale from the frontier. We bring you authentic stories every week, crafted for listeners who appreciate the grit, honor, and moral complexity of life's frontiers. Leave a comment below telling us what you thought of Elena Thorne and Leo Vance's story. Would you have made the same choice Leo did? Have you ever had to choose between revenge and justice in your own life? Share this story with friends and family who love classic tales. Help us build a community of listeners who appreciate storytelling the way it used to be done when characters had depth and every choice had consequences. And remember, the world isn't just about fast reactions. It was about hard people making hard choices in a hard world, trying to find honor in a place where the line between right and wrong wasn't always clear. Until next time, keep your tea hot, your conscience clear, and your stories close. We'll see you on the next trail. Stay safe.